Welcome to Maple Leafs Man Advantage. I am Hawkeye, and I'm back. Um, the Toronto Blue Jays season is over. They were this close to doing it. Made it to Game 7, extra innings, World Series. Just couldn't eliminate the LA Dodgers, so the Dodgers won their second consecutive World Series. But I'm back. I'm gonna get back into these hockey videos, try and start clicking them out quickly like I did last year, or try and do them as quickly as I can. But this video tonight, it's the 1976 playoffs for the NHL. I'm going to talk about how the Leafs did and see how the playoffs shaped out for the NHL. So, if you do like this video, I appreciate to hit like or the thumbs up. Subscribe as well. I would absolutely appreciate that as well. I've got other videos on here dealing with hockey. More than often than not, it's about the Toronto Maple Leafs. And as well, if you want to comment on anything, you could do so as well. So it is now November. October is over with. So on my Toronto Maple Leafs calendar, I've flipped it over. And who we got there? Willie Nylander for November, handling the puck there. So there you have it. It's now November. Boy, oh boy. This year has really flown by. So anyways, for the 1976 playoffs, in the opening round, the Toronto Maple Leafs, they made the playoffs this year. So in the opening round, the Leafs are going to play the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Leafs ended up bouncing the Pens out. It's a best 2 out of 3. The Leafs did it in game 3. They bounced them out 2-1. So that's good. Also in the first round, the Buffalo Sabres beat the St. Louis Blues 2-1. The Islanders made quick work of the Vancouver Canucks, beating them in 2 games. And the LA Kings eliminated the Atlanta Flames 2-0 as well. And the teams that got the bye in the first round, they were the Philadelphia Flyers, Chicago Blackhawks, Boston Bruins, and those Montreal Canadiens. They all got a bye in the first round. So in the second round, the Leafs squared off against the Philadelphia Flyers. Uh-oh, these guys have won the cup 2 times in a row. Now we're facing them in the second round. Can we beat these guys? Seems for the Leafs, they always had to face either the Bruins or the Flyers back then. Two great teams of the 70s right there. Um, Always seemed to happen first or second round. Um, Now, this one must have been a real good series. As It took 7 games for the Flyers to beat the Leafs. Best of 7. So first of 4. The Flyers did it. In addition, though, Daryl Sittler scored 5 goals. Five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in one game. Um, Another very good series must have been the Bruins. They beat the LA Kings, but it took them 7 games as well. The Islanders beat the Buffalo Sabres 4-2, and the Canadiens swept away the Chicago Blackhawks in 4. So for the Leafs, it was Daryl Sittler who led the way with 5 goals and 12 points. Ian Turnbull led the team with 9 assists. Tiger Williams, he garnered 75 penalty minutes in just 10 games. Wow. And Wayne Thomas ended up with a 5-5 record, but he had a 908 save percentage, much better than the 3.48 goals against average you see there. With that kind of goals against average, you're thinking it would be 10 points lower than that. No, he was getting peppered with a lot of shots, and he had one shutout as well. So Wayne Thomas did it. He did good for the Leafs. So in the semifinals, the Flyers beat out the Bruins 4-1, and the Habs finished the Islanders' season by beating them 4-1 as well. So that left the Philadelphia Flyers, who have won the last 2 cups, and the Montreal Canadiens, who I believe they led the season in points. They were 1-2, were they not? But here they go. They're going face to face in the finals. Now, the game I did watch in this series was game 4. at the Spectrum in Philly. By this point, the Habs were up 3-0 in the series. Um, Now, by saying that, you're thinking, oh, these must have been a blowout series. No, not at all. These were very tight games. Montreal had won by scores of 4-3, 2-1, and 3-2. You can't get any tighter than that. Um, so there you go. In net for the Habs to try and eliminate the Flyers right now is Kenny Dryden. Who else, right? While in net for the Flyers is Wayne Stevenson. He stood 5'9". Dryden stood 6'4". Big difference between the two goalies here. Um, Wayne on TV, even like when watching it, he appeared to even be a few inches shorter than that. So I wonder if he was actually that tall. Um, this was Wayne's best season of his career because Bernie Perrant was hurt for most of it. He won 40 games this year, Wayne did. And he had a 4-3 record going into game four for the Flyers. So closer for Montreal, Scotty Bowman, who was looking for his first Stanley Cup win. And for Philadelphia, it was Fred Shero, who looks a bit like a hitman at this point when I see him on TV. So it was a CBC game. Doing the play-by-play was the late great Danny Gallivan and Dick Irvin providing color. Great combination there. The first thing I noticed is the haircuts. They're not quite as wild and crazy as they were in the previous season. Right out of the gate, though, Dave the Hammer Schultz looks like he just wants to pick a fight with any Montreal Canadian out there. He really reminds me of Ogie Oglethorpe from the movie Slapshot. The Flyers grab a double minor 29 seconds in, real quick. But before the Habs get on the power play, 2 minutes need to be killed off from the clock as they picked up a minor of their own. Just seconds after that, Reggie Leach, who is having an incredible playoff, opens the scoring, slapping one home. 41 seconds in, and it's 1-0 Philly, and there's been a lot of whistles and things going on, and we're not even a minute in here. Montreal ties it up not long after as three Habs come together across the line. So we got Yvon Cournoyer passed one over to Steve Shutt, who popped one into the net on the power play. We see Mel Bridgman, who was the 1975 number one first overall draft pick, wearing number 10 for the Flyers. Bill Barber, he gets a high sticking call. Montreal then goes up 2-1 on a weak shot from Pierre Bouchard at the point. Stevenson looks on the replay to me when I saw it again that he might have been screened. He didn't see this puck coming. So, well, the Flyers are needing their best from all their players now. Um, Philly did start getting chances on the Montreal goal, um, as they played most of the period without getting pressure in the half zone, really. But they're starting to turn that around. Lots of pushing, shoving, and talking after the whistle so far in this one. Guy Lapointe gets a holding call, and Philly ties it up when Tom Gladden shoots one on net, and Bill Barber tipped it in front of the net. So we're tied up at 2 after one period. Good action in the second. It looks like the Habs aren't getting pushed around by the Flyer bullies here. Kate Smith, she sang before the game, and the Flyers record when she did that before the game was an incredible 47 wins, only 4 losses, and 1 tie. Quite an incredible record there. Guy Lapointe picks up his second penalty, and the Flyers are back onto the power play. Barber shoots one at the net, but Dryden made the save. But Moose Dupont buries the rebound. He does that goal dance, jumping on the ice with it, looking like he's running on ice. Personally, I'm getting pretty sick of him doing this every time I see a goal, but he did score some big goals for the Flyers, and that was his reaction. So Flyer fans love it, but I'm getting a little sick of it. Come on. And to be honest, I'm not a Montreal Canadian fan. Can you tell? Can you tell? But in this game, I'm leaning towards Montreal here. I'm leaning towards Montreal. eliminating these guys. Okay, come on, Montreal, let's do it. See what we can do. That's really crazy because I don't cheer for the Habs. I don't cheer for Montreal. Even with this good young team they got in Montreal now, a lot of people are saying, "Hey, they're good, they're great, they're young, and all this." Oh, good, great. Good for them. I'm not saying anything bad, but I'm not going to cheer for them just because of that. I'm cheering for these guys. So, but and I've cheered for them before, but this it's a rarity. It doesn't happen very often. So now Gary Dornhofer was off killing the last of his penalty when Yvonne Cornway shovels in when he stood alone in front of the net, ties the game up at 3 with just 11 seconds left in the second period. Wow, I wrote down, I must admit, if I was a Habs fan, I think I would have cheered for this 5'7" Cornway at this point. He tied this sucker up. We're tied at 3 after 2 periods. Philadelphia's back is right up against the wall at home. I need to outscore Montreal to keep this series alive. About 5 minutes into the third, Steve Shutt is all alone in front, but Stevenson made a real nice kick save to keep the Habs from going ahead. Halfway through the third, Larry Goodenough dumps Bob Gainey. So the Habs are back on the power play and are so far on the power play 3 for 3. They're That's where they're getting their goals here. The Flyers are playing with fire here, but the Flyers kill it off without giving up any primo chances. In return, Gainey gets called for holding, so the Flyers get their first power play opportunity of the night. A crazy play where Dornhofer beats Dryden in close, but slapped it off the post and it bounced out. Dryden tumbled on top of the puck in the crease then to get the whistle. Boy, Lady Luck was in Montreal's corner here, maybe. The Habs then kill off the rest of the penalty. Then Guy Lafleur stands in the slot, and Pete Mahovlich throws a beauty pass over to him, and he hammers it into the net. Montreal jumps out in front 4-3, and that post that Dornhofer hit turned out to be a big play. The Habs bring it into Flyer zone with just under 5 minutes left. Lafleur this time sets up Mahovlich, a bit of a switch around here, who backhands it past Stevenson. It's now 5-3 for the Habs. You can almost hear the air being let out of the building here as the fans begin to swallow the inevitable that's happening in front of them. Montreal did very well in fending off the Flyers and held on to this lead. Montreal wins the 1976 Stanley Cup, sweeping away the Philadelphia Flyers in a series. I'm going to say it again. This was not a blowout series. These were tight games, but Montreal came out on top in all 4 of them. Their captain, Cornway, led the way skating around the ice with the cup held high. Pretty happy would be an understatement. Reggie Leach was also the Conn Smythe, and they didn't even win a game in the finals. Kind of incredible there. But he had 19 goals in just 16 games. Um, Also scored 5 goals in the 4 against Montreal. He really had an amazing playoff and was ready for another Stanley Cup. Um, but at the same time, incredible as his team never won a game in the finals. For Montreal, both Guy Lafleur and Steve Shutt, they had 7 goals. Lafleur also had 10 assists and 17 points. Doug Risebrough had 30 penalty minutes in the 13 games played. In net, here we go. Kenny Dryden. He had a sparkling 12-1 record. They lost 1 game in the playoffs. That's it. Wow, he had a 929 save percentage, 1.92 goals against, and he grabbed a shutout as well. So that's it. The Montreal Canadiens win the 1976 Stanley Cup, and let's see how many of these guys can put in a row here. Yeah, They've got quite a team in Montreal here going on. And then we'll see what happens with Toronto. They got to the second round here. We're eliminated by the Flyers. They went on to the finals. They still had a great team in Philadelphia. Um, but we'll see what happens going on into the next year. But there you have it. And until next time, go Leafs, go.